Emo music has been getting really popular again, specifically emo-themed live music events, and for some reason, they make a lot of money. Let me show you. Flashback to 2022, an announcement of When We Were Young, the 2000s emo and pop-punk mega festival, featuring acts like My Chemical Romance and Paramore, which sells out immediately, as in less than an hour. Anyone who wants a ticket after that has to sign up for a wait list that has their credit card info pre-filled in so that the second a new ticket is made available, your account will auto-purchase it. A second date is added. Sells out immediately. When We Were Young 2023 is announced right afterwards. Sells out immediately. A second date is added again. Sells out immediately. Live in a big city where a touring emo night DJ set is gonna play? Odds are it will sell out immediately. Emo's not dead. The Cruise sells out immediately. What the fuck?
Well, it turns out, if you want to make money, you just have to get creative at repackaging the same 20-song Spotify playlist and pitch it to a crowd of rapidly aging millennials. Some might give boomers a hard time for buying gold because the nice man on Fox News told them the economy was going to collapse. But I really mean it when I say that there is no easier demographic of Americans to swindle out of their money than millennials on a nostalgia high.
Think about all those different emo live events I just listed. Think about how much money must be involved with them. For reference, just day one of the first When We Were Young had 60,000 people. Tickets, merch, travel, lodging, accommodations, VIP packages that come with limited edition Funko Pop collectibles. And there also isn't just one emo night DJ event company. The nostalgia economy is big enough to support dozens of these operations that tour all across the country, as well as one-off local events. For a generation that the media has always roasted for being broke and having no shot at paying off their house or retiring, they might be single-handedly propping up the entire live music industry. While at least all that money ends up going to local venues and small art... never mind.
Financial domination, also known as findom, is a fetish lifestyle activity in which a submissive is required to give gifts or money to a dominant. In this fetish lifestyle, in particular a practice of dominance and submission, a submissive, cash piggy, fin sub, human ATM, money slave, or pay pig, gives gifts and money to a financial dominant, findom, money dom, money mistress, or cash master.
And what's really working in the favor of these megacorps milking millennials is that the pay piggies aren't even aware of what's going on. We've seen time and time again that it is simply in their nature to associate consuming product and spending money with identity. This belief has seemed to infect every individual between the ages of 26 and 40. Because keep in mind, this is the same generation that's spending money on superhero movie paraphernalia, Legos, Disney World season passes, plastic collectible figures, and other forms of children's media. They long for the past and try to bring it back into their present, because they're stuck in life.
The so-called elder emo is really just the angsty sibling of the Disney adult. They're two sides of the same coin, both engaging in consumerism as a means to feel young again. But at least it makes sense for the Disney adult to be nostalgic. They just want to reminisce on the media they watched as a child, back before the jobs, bills, sore lower backs, and having to nurse their craft beer hangovers every weekend. But what does the elder emo have to be nostalgic about? Being shoved into a locker, getting called a for listening to MCR? I was joking about the humiliation fetish thing before, but maybe we're onto something here. It appears as if the world building for elder emos is only going to get more advanced. But first, we have to figure out how we ended up here.
It's time to dive into the long, dark, and still unfolding history of emo festivals. Back in the day, millennials' younger selves rocked out like there was no tomorrow, with enough eyeliner to rival a raccoon convention. Now, these same people, who have evolved into elder emos, pull a muscle trying to do the same thing, while being forced to realize that they are now facing the previously mentioned tomorrow and that they have work in the morning.
These sorry folks are truly desperate to relive their angsty glory days, and because of this, they choose to drown in escapism as they run as quickly as they can from the harsh reality that they are, in fact, aging, and that they are running out of excuses to keep trying to personify the rebellious 16-year-old versions of themselves that are clawing beneath the surface of their now blown-out Jack Skellington tattoos. But this doesn't stop them. To understand the progression of these festivals and how this breed of millennial came to be, we have to look at the history. Firstly, we had the legendary Warped Tour, which saw it start in 1995. The mecca of the emo and pop-punk scenes which helped to cultivate the success of many household name bands today. As we entered the 2010s, Warped Tour began to lose its luster and become less relevant, which made way for 2014's Emo Night DJ parties to swoop in and bring back emo as something more than just an old cringy fad. And best of all, Emo Night slapped the great big nostalgia sticker onto the term.
As time went on, these events began to lose the spotlight to its bastard grandchild, the When We Were Young Festival, which screams non-GMO, nostalgia-fed cash cow from the very title to the shallow, one-dimensional promotion. Okay, but it doesn't get any worse than that, right? Oh. That's right, you too can experience emo at its truest form, on a big fat boat full of big fat people on a big fat body of water. Now, if you're buying a single ticket, that's going to run you about $2,000, unless of course you want to swing for the owner's suite, which, let's be real, who wouldn't? In which case it's going to be more like $6. But don't freak out, because you're getting a lot of emo bangs for your emo buck. For example, you can watch the Tonight Show, hosted by Matt Cutshall. You know, Matt Cutshall. You can also watch a live taping of the E&D, or Emo's Not Dead, podcast, hosted by Matt Cutshall. You know, Matt Cutshall, host of the Tonight Show, who is... Oh, he owns the cruise. He owns Emo's Not Dead, the brand. Okay, got it. And there's also activities like the belly flop competition. Remember the big fat bodies I was talking about? See, that was relevant. But see, it's all worth it, because in the end, you can watch all the bands that you just saw at When We Were Young a month earlier, only this time Yellowcard is headlining, so you can watch them play that one song again. As well as live band karaoke by the Emo Band. They're a band and they're emo. Get it? They're not just any band. They're an emo band that makes emo music. It's not just a cruise, it's an emo cruise. It's not just a podcast, it's the emo podcast. It's not the Tonight Show with Matt Cutshall. It's the Emo Tonight Emo Show with Emo Shaw. Emo merch, emo salsa, trademark it, copyright it, put that little symbol on it. I'm cutting my wrist because I'm emo. And would you look at that? I'm bleeding cash, bitch.
And who wouldn't want an emo souvenir to take back home? Maybe a t-shirt with completely outdated and overused design motifs that look like it was stolen from the dumpster behind Zoomies? But it would probably be rotting with the rest of the old band t-shirts you've outgrown over the years. So how about some sad kid slides for your lazy weekends where you rewatch How I Met Your Mother and the Baby Yoda show for the 4th time? Better yet, get yourself an emo mug so all your friends at the fake email job you have know how emo you are. And don't worry, you can even bundle it with your Emo's Not Dead Broken Heart coffee blend.
Though festivals have existed within this music subculture for nearly 30 years at this point, it's safe to say that they've fallen far from favor of the public eye, or really anyone that's just not a yokel. But I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt here. It's totally possible that these events are blatant, cheesy, and shallow in their marketing just because the people running them are totally lame and corny, and that's really the only way they know how to communicate their message as opposed to it being a more calculated, manipulative money grab. After all, with the millennial generation, it's often impossible to know if they're being ironic or not.
So we have our setting, the history of these festivals and events, and how far they've come, or rather, how far they've fallen. And we have our characters, the demographic paying to keep them going. This means it's time for some psychoanalysis. We must ask, why? Why are these grown adults so willingly prostituting their longing for the past to these pseudo-musical corp gods?
Basically, corporations have become experts at taking advantage of the rose-colored reminiscing for the past that the elder emos hold so dearly. They have learned to tap into these poor folks' emotions and ultimately their wallets. The allure of reliving their youth, even if just for a night at a concert or a themed event, is too tempting for many to resist, as long as they don't look too closely at the mirror and see their aging figure and lack of stamina, as they sing songs about the friction in their jeans or teenagers scaring the shit out of them, which at this point has taken on an entirely new meaning in their lives.
And tonight will be the night that I will emo cruise, cruising for dudes, don't make me waste my time.